from his family.
Was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
We've got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.
The Bucks lost today, and it's therapy. What's up, everybody? I'm just kidding. The Bucks did lose today in a meaningless preseason game. Christian Ballard here at Ballard Sports Media with my good friend Mayhem Matthew. What's up, buddy? College football is here.
Yes, college football is here. Week 0.
Yep.
So,
Bunch of interesting games that are not going to impact the college football playoff, but it's still good to see, right? I mean, Fresno State could be a really good group of 5 team. They played Kansas. We just saw a couple minutes ago, actually, as the show was coming on. How about Stanford and Hawaii?
yeah, talk about it.
20. Well, yeah. So, had missed some of this game. I was starting to watch it for a while. Stanford was up, uh, to a 10-0 lead. Hawaii scored a touchdown within the closing minutes of the first. And it was back and forth. And then what was interesting was it got tied up at 20 apiece with 2:01 to go from how do you say this? Matsuzawa?
Come on, man!
Yeah. Matsuzawa, or however you say it, ended up kicking a 37-yard field goal. And then at the closing seconds, the Rainbow Warriors, with the same kicker, kick a 38-yarder. So nothing major happened in this game, but as time expired, Hawaii was able to pull the upset over the ACC newcomers, at least of last year. That's really all I got on this one. I just really woke up to kind of see all that.
Yeah, for sure. I also got to see some of the Iowa State Kansas State game. Pretty good battle between the two teams. Iowa State came out with the W, and Kansas State held in there for a while, and didn't get to see the whole entire game, but did get to see most of it. And I thought it was a pretty good game, pretty good back and forth. What you would see, what you would expect out of a Big 12 game is pretty much what you got out of that game. Iowa State did come out with a W there, so if you wanted to touch on that, I liked what I seen from both Kansas State and Iowa State. I think Iowa State literally picked up where they left off from last season. I think they're going to be just fine. I do believe they're in contention for that Big 12 title. This is a great statement win over Kansas State, and I also believe that Kansas State, with a loss, it does hurt them, but I don't think they need to be having their heads down and out. I think they need to pick their chin up, and they played a hard-fought battle between Iowa State, a team that literally made it to their conference championship the year prior. So I think they need to I know we don't celebrate losses. I understand that. That's completely understandable. But going forward, I think they need to be happy with what they put out on the field, even though it did come out in a loss. I know we don't celebrate losses. I'm not sitting here telling you to celebrate a loss there, but I think they'll be fine going forward. I really do. I think
Well,
Kansas.
here's the thing about the Big 12 is I really do think it's up for grabs, but I feel like today we kind of saw back and forth probably what could be the conference championship matchup in my opinion, but we'll see what it looks like, man. I do want to give a have us give bowl takes for each conference and then pick the conference champions. Like we got a loaded show here tonight for you guys here,
For sure.
just before midnight. So, but I mean, do you feel like Mayhem that we kind of saw two of the best teams of the Big 12 today, or do you think it's a little too early to say that?
I do think it's way too early to say that because we haven't even seen the other teams play. But we definitely did see two great teams in the Big 12 go at it today. They had a hard fought battle, and I think both teams they should be proud of themselves. And like I said one more time, I know we don't celebrate losses here, but speaking of that, I do want to show y'all something real quick, if you don't mind, Ballard. Tomorrow, Mayhem Matthew channel on YouTube. I did want to plug my stuff real quick at the beginning of the show before we really get into it.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow, I will be having my very first official episode of Talking Mayhem. So I'm really excited about that. Got a lot of stuff in the episode. Sit down talking. It's going to be regular talking, and going to have a little bit of skits. We're gonna give out some awards from week 0. So it's going to be a fun-filled episode, and I can't wait till it releases. So I do want to show y'all this 30-second quick clip.
That's a banger right there, dude. I don't know. Look, if you're not tuned into that after that video, like something's wrong. I love that. Like I'm not even trying to say that just to promote you, man. Like that was awesome. For real.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm really going to take this one seriously. Talking
Yeah.
Mayhem, is coming together. I've got already lined up some banger interviews. This is going to cover more than just college football. It is going to cover college football, but it's going to cover more than just college football. It's going to cover social media overall. It's going to cover anything that pretty much ESPN covers, but it's going to be the Mayhem Matthew version, and we're going to sit down and have these hard conversations, or we're going to have these fun conversations, and we're going to have these fun skits, like Saturday Night Live type skits. We're going to also give out an awards because in the previous years I did the You Tried Awards with the trophy. I want to bring that back, and it's going to be a great presentation. So I hope y'all really tune into it. But enough of me. Okay, let's talk about college football because that's what you came in and clicked on this video for. I just wanted to show y'all that it every single Sunday, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be uploaded. So every single Sunday we'll get you that video, and we'll upload some shorts and everything like that from the video, and hopefully y'all like it. But without further ado, let's get into our college football conference championship predictions. Let's start with the Big Ten because they are our reigning defending national champions. Who is your Big Ten champion, Ballard?
Yeah, we'll do. Let's pick the conference champions here first. I've kind of already gone through this, and I had to actually go back today in my notes and man, who did I talk to Uncle Lou about? And it's possible some of these I changed last minute, but I I'm not only going except for the ACC. I will say it could come down to SMU again. It could come down to Miami. Um, but let's start with the Big Ten mayhem. Who do you have? I am gonna go bold here. I'm gonna say Ohio State beats Penn State in the regular season, but they rematch in the Big Ten title, and I pick Penn State in a rematch. I am very high on Penn State. I think you and I were both high on them last year. They did not win the conference, but they made a really deep run to get to a semifinal to lose to Notre Dame, who lost to Ohio State, who won the championship. So they returned so much production back. And overall, I think that with Drew Aller at quarterback and Nick Singleton in the backfield, James Franklin should have yet another good team. I don't know what their regular season's going to look like. I think 10-2 at worst, and maybe that'll keep them out of the Big Ten title, but get them in the playoffs. But I mean, if this team really is what I think they are this year, they should have no problem getting to that game and ultimately finding a way to win it. And I think they're going to do that over Ohio State. What do you say?
So, I would love to pick Penn State to win this, but I feel like it's just not going to happen yet.
Right.
I put stock into Penn State last year and the year before. I don't want to be that guy that keeps on picking until it happens, and then if it did happen, I don't want to jump on here and say I told you so, and then in the comments, well, you picked them the last 3 years, of course you're eventually going to get it right. So I don't want to be that guy to keep on picking Penn State over and over and over again. And isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? So don't want to have an insane take here. But I will say that I do think that we will get an Ohio State versus Oregon in the Big Ten championship, a rematch from the playoffs this past season. But this time, I do think Oregon will get the best of them. I still believe Ohio State and Oregon will be in the college football playoffs this year. But I do believe Oregon wins Big Ten, goes back to back in Big Ten championships. Oh,
go ahead and finish. I do have a question though about Ohio State.
Yeah, I like what Oregon's doing. They brought in that quarterback from UCLA a few years ago. He's a veteran quarterback. He sat on the bench, learned under Dylan Gabriel. I think he's ready to go. I think he's going to be one of the best Big Ten quarterbacks. And I love the wide receiver core. I love the offensive line. I love a lot about Oregon's offense. I love what Dan Lanning's doing there, and I also love the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Dan Lanning is a defensive guru, and he has 5 stars all over the field, and it's going to show up on the field. And I think they go back to back and punch their ticket to the college football playoffs once again.
Now I'm looking at Ohio State's schedule. Interestingly enough, they had played, I believe, in the regular season last year with Oregon, but this year they do not. It's not like the SEC where they have the same opponents. They actually did mix it up, but you have so you're sticking with Oregon to beat Ohio State in the Big Ten.
Yes, sir.
Now, how does Ohio State get there? Well, let me ask this. Let me jump to my question. Does Ohio State finally get over the Michigan hump? Or do they fall there, but that's their only conference loss and they still sneak in the Big Ten title? How does it play out for Ohio State?
So I'm not with the hype with Michigan. There's a lot of early top 25s that have Michigan in top 25. I don't. I'm not bought into this true freshman Bryce Underwood. Yeah, we watched his tape highlights and we reacted to it. He's a really good 5-star. He's the number 1 rated player in this year's 2025, right?
Yeah.
He's like the number 1 recruit, but like I don't know how that's going to translate to Michigan. You know, he was committed to LSU for a very long time. Then basically Michigan paid for him to come to Michigan, and I don't know how that's going to translate because, you know, you do have to have some type of love for the school, I would assume. You know, I wonder how his teammates is going to gel with him. You know, they know he's what, a $10.5, $11 million man. They know that. I wonder like how the teammates are going to work with each other. You know, if he's trying to take charge and his teammates, you know, are looking at him crazy and be like, you know, the only reason why you came here is because of money. And, you know, I wonder if them things will happen at Michigan. I wonder if them type of fights back and forth, you know, whenever he has to yell at a wide receiver, hey, do this, or whenever he has to, you know, be the locker room leader. I wonder if, you know, some of them team players are going to push back and say, man, you're not even a team player. You only came here for the money, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if the locker room. I'm not saying that they have any locker room issues. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that I wonder if they will, right? So
Yeah.
for that reason, and also like I'm not a really big Sharon Moore guy. I think you know, they didn't really do a national search for a really good head coach. I know he has some really big wins under his belt. I get that. I understand that. But I'm just not sold on Michigan this year. I would not be surprised if they
I'm not,
repeat.
I'm not either, just to let you know where I stand with them. So I agree a
I'm,
lot with what you're saying.
yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm really high. I would not, like I said, I would not be surprised if they repeated what they did this past year, like a 6-6 and win a bowl game, or 7-5 win a bowl game, have 8 wins or something. And now, as far as the matchup between Ohio State and Michigan, I'm going to be completely honest, bro. That's a rivalry game, and you can literally, I can get a coin out right now, flip it. If it lands on heads, I'll say Ohio State. If it lands on tails, I'll say Michigan. And I could be right. And then, you know, or I could be wrong. So I don't know how that's going to play out as far as the rivalry game. But it seems like, you know, Michigan would like to keep up with their win streak. And it seems like Ohio State has a chip on their shoulder like, hey, bro, like we got to beat our rival. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just
Remind
one.
me, is that game in Michigan this year? Where was it last year?
Yeah, it was at Ohio State last year. Remember, they tried to plant their flag in the middle,
Oh yeah,
um,
that's right.
and Jack Sawyer, he started a fight and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
so it's going to be in Michigan this year, and Ohio State would love nothing more than to win, and I'm sure that they'll try to plant their flag, just like Michigan did the year before. I don't know, um, what would happen, but I would assume that if you grab a bunch of 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds, that they would try to get their revenge and try to plant their flag in the middle of their field and see how they feel, right?
Yeah,
So I do think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to be ready for that game. If you ask me today, I think Ohio State would win, but I also thought Ohio State would win last year. So, I mean, who knows with that game? I'm not going to sit here and make a prediction right yet, but I will say that I don't think Michigan's going to be like in the running for a Big Ten championship or even making it to it whenever that game is played. I don't think whoever, like a couple years ago, whoever won that game went to the Big Ten championship, right?
yeah,
I do not foresee that being a factor this season. I think by the time we get to Michigan versus Ohio State, I think it'll already be locked in that Ohio State is in that Big Ten championship and Michigan will already be knocked out of it, right? I think we'll already
yeah.
know or have a pretty good. I think it might be up to like, Oregon or Penn State or Ohio State. One of them three will, two out of them three is going to make it. I'm choosing Oregon to win over Ohio State. I think they get their revenge from the playoffs this past year.
All right. And so you got Oregon over Ohio State in the Big Ten. I got Penn State over Ohio State. We kind of went through the disagreements there, but that's fine. I mean, they're both in a way realistic picks. Um, we'll do the SEC last since we're SEC fans. Let's just go ahead and get this one out the way. I mean, are we in agreement on the ACC with Clemson? And I did not pick who it would be over because I don't know. I mean, it could be SMU again, it could be Miami. Georgia Tech has a case. It's kind of wide open, but I think it comes down to being one of those years where it's Clemson and then whoever makes it this season. What do you say?
So I am going to pick Clemson to win the ACC. I
Okay.
think it is Clemson and everybody else for the ACC. Like something tells me, hey, I think Miami can finally make it. Clemson Miami matchup, but it's just like it's kind of like my pick with LSU a few years ago and last year, and it's kind of like my pick with Penn State a few years ago and last year. It's just like how many times, am I going to believe in you? And then how many times am I going to pick you and then you still don't do it? So for that reason, I don't want to pick Miami. I do not want to pick Miami to make it. I'm going to go with a team. I'm going to honestly shock you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say Clemson versus Syracuse. ACC championship.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, dude. I'm pretty high on the Qs this year. What do you see in them? Because I would say the same exact things you said about Miami, and then I would say either Georgia Tech or Syracuse is going to face Clemson. Maybe you make a case for SMU to get back in there, but I don't know, man. The odds of it being the same from last year for the ACC are really slim. But I like the Syracuse pick. I'm actually curious what you see in them.
So I know they don't bring back Kyle McCord. So
Right.
they bring in a new quarterback. Going to have to see how he plays. But I like I'm pretty sure they do bring back some wide receivers. They have a pretty good offensive line, really good, really good defense. I like as much as we make fun of Fran Brown around these parts. I truly like Fran Brown. I liked him whenever he was at Georgia. I like what he's started there at Syracuse, turning that program around just in one season. And so this pick is 100% buying into the coach. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know too much about the quarterbacks. I don't really know too much,
Well, I could tell you.
but
I mean,
I,
the only thing I can tell you about the quarterback is he comes from Notre Dame, and I don't even know how he did over there. But I'm gonna take my bold upset week 1 to be possibly Syracuse going to Atlanta just to beat Tennessee. I mean, I could even see that, dude. Like, I think they could get off to a hot start, hit some bumps on the road middle of the season, pick it back up, and lock in for the ACC title. Now, I don't think they're going to win that,
now what's
but
his name?
the quarterback,
Yeah.
Steve Angeli, comes over from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you get a transfer quarterback from a team like Notre Dame, Notre Dame seen something in him. He transfers to Syracuse. Fran Brown sees something in him. So I don't know if he'll be the best. I don't know if he'll be the same as Kyle McCord because Kyle McCord, he was a really good quarterback. I know he made his mistakes at times, but I think the weapons around him at Syracuse, especially at like wide receiver, I think they have a really good wide receiving core there at Syracuse, and they got a decent offense line and I like a really good defense there in the ACC, right? So I'm buying into Fran Brown this year. Fran Brown, please don't let me down because I'll never do this again, right? I'm just buying into Fran Brown. I'm not saying that Syracuse is the greatest team or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you're asking me for my bold predictions. Clemson, Syracuse, ACC title game. I could see it happening. I would love to say the cliche answer and say Miami, Clemson, but I want to be different. And, that's what you're going to see on the Talking Mayhem podcast that I do. You're going to see a lot of different things that these ESPN talking heads don't talk about. And that's what we're doing here on the Touchdowns live show too. We're making bold predictions. We're not saying the cliche Texas versus Clemson versus Miami, lock it in. Like we've been locking that
And
in
I
for how
didn't
many?
even do that.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we've been locking in. We've been locking in Clemson versus Miami for how long? And it hasn't happened. So I'm not locking that in. I'm gonna say my crazy pick is Syracuse. If I had to choose somebody else over that, I would say Louisville. Um, just because again, I love their head coach. He's built for tough. He's built for this game of football. He's a former quarterback himself. So and he's an alumni there at Louisville as well. So if I had to pick somebody other than Syracuse, it'd probably be Louisville. But I'm not picking Miami. I have no hard feelings over Miami. But I really do believe that Miami should have made it last year, but they literally turned it on their own foot, and they peated away at the last second, right? So
yeah, I don't even know if I can pick Miami. I mean, I was high on them at first, but the closer we get to the season, the more I don't want to pick Miami. That's why I'm rolling the dice and just playing it safe and saying Clemson's going to win the ACC. Now, it could be over Miami. You mentioned Louisville. I think that's a really good pick, too. Syracuse. I mean, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 different teams that can make it there. Clemson being one of them that I think's the obvious, like, I know that's not thinking outside the box or anything, but I don't know. I feel like Cade Klubnik is going to be really special this year, and I think he's got some guys on defense to help him out. I think he's got great offensive weapons. I just think they take a big step forward, and that's why I would take them to win the ACC.
Yeah. I think, I did say that I would love to think outside the box, and I am going to do that. That's true. I'm going to have some bold predictions and hot takes, but also I do believe 1 + 1 can equal 2. I mean,
Yeah.
if Clemson's the best in the ACC, then so be it, right? I do believe that there is a happy medium that we can all come together and say, hey, Clemson is the best in the ACC. And I know if you're a fan of Miami, or if you're a fan of Georgia Tech, or you're a fan of whatever ACC teams out there, I'm sure North Carolina fans are really hyped for their new ball coach there. And it's not going to work out for them over there with Bill Belichick, but people probably think they're the best, right? But so with that being said, like, I'm picking Clemson over Syracuse in the ACC championship.
I like it. We got 2 more power conferences. I want to save the SEC for last. Let's talk the Big 12. I think this is the most wide open conference this year. I think there's a lot of good teams. I think we kind of sort of saw that on display today in week 0. But, there's still a long way to go. And I still want to stick to my champion, at least at the moment. And it could be over Kansas State again. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I got Iowa State winning the Big 12, but I got it over Arizona State. I could see it over Kansas State. I could see it. I mean, Baylor could get in there. Kansas. I don't know.
Yeah. So the Big 12 is really wide open.
I'm
Whenever
telling you, man. Like you
whenever
talk
I look
about.
at this, so I'm gonna do a little game here.
Okay.
With I guess with myself here. I'm looking at the teams here. Go ahead and eliminate. I'm gonna do an elimination game here. Eliminate Kansas, eliminate Colorado, eliminate Oklahoma State. Unfortunately, I'm gonna eliminate Utah. Don't really see much. I think they're rebuilding. Eliminate Cincinnati, eliminate Arizona, eliminate Baylor, eliminate Houston, eliminate TCU, eliminate Texas Tech, eliminate eliminate BYU, eliminate
Now,
UCF.
hold on. Are you eliminating these teams because it's obvious they're not going to win it, or are
No,
you
I'm just
saying you're thinking off your head, right?
I'm
Like,
eliminating them because I don't see it in my head that UCF is coming to the Big 12 championship. I'm
well,
eliminating
no,
Baylor
I can
because
get that, but like when
yeah,
you said eliminate Texas Tech, I'm thinking you think they don't have a shot at it,
no, they
right?
don't. They don't have a
Ah,
shot.
well, no, they do.
They don't.
Okay,
Because
Utah.
how many times am I going to hear that Texas Tech is going to win something and they end up going 7-5 every year? They don't have a chance. They don't have Patrick Mahomes anymore. So
It is so unpredictable what's going to happen in college football this year. Like everything's like a
I
big
think
mystery.
it's down. I think the Big 12 is down to Kansas State, Arizona State, West Virginia, and Iowa State. Whenever I look at them 4 teams, I am going to go ahead and lock in Arizona State to make it. And I'm going to go ahead and say West Virginia.
Oh, I wish I could pick them. There's just something holding me back from it. I don't know why. I'm gonna go Iowa State over Arizona State just to be safe. I don't know if those are the two betting favorites. I would like to think Kansas State's up there somewhere, but this is a literal crapshoot right now with the Big 12 this year in the conference. You said something about eliminating some teams. I'm optimistic, and I like to think that going into the season, and this is how it is, right? Anyone at any given time could get hot, and any given team wants it bad enough, they'll go win it. That's how it is. That's reality. But also there's reality that it's probably not going to happen, and you got to stay safe with placing your money on something.
Yeah, I understand. I do like what Rich Rod.
Yeah.
This is his very first year back with West Virginia, and I'm really high on Rich Rod. He was able to take West Virginia to big heights back then. Nico is going to be, and I'm not talking about Nico, I'm about to leave you, but Nico Marchiol is going to be the starting quarterback for West Virginia.
Mhm.
And I think he can be a pretty good quarterback for West Virginia. I mean, this is his junior year, his third year. He's played all 3 years at West Virginia. He was backup, but he's gonna get his chance to start. And I like what I'm seeing from Rich Rod, and I like how he talks and what he brings to the table in the Big 12. So give me Rich Rod and the Mountaineers to make it. Although I do pick Arizona State to win back-to-back
Okay.
Big 12 championships, and although that's like a not a a really big upset pick or not a really big bold take pick or anything like that, I understand that. But whenever I look at Arizona State, they bring back a ton of talent that they had this past year, and honestly, they should have beat Texas in the playoffs. I watched that game. I seen the Texas touchdown that they won off of. That was really close. You could have called that easily an incomplete pass, and Arizona State would have won. That was a really close game. Came down to the wire. They bring back a lot of talent from that this past year. They bring back their quarterback in Sam. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, along with Cade Klubnik, and so that we talked about with Clemson earlier. So I do think that 1 + 1 is going to equal 2 again, and 1 + 1 equals back-to-back 2-time Big 12 champions. Arizona State, I think they have separated themselves a little bit from the rest of the others. Second place is kind of wide open. You can literally say any other team, and it might be believable. But I do believe Arizona State has separated themselves just a little bit from the rest of the others. So give me Arizona State, although it's not a sexy bold pick to make, but at the end of the season, I do want to be right with my predictions. So give me Arizona State beating West Virginia.
I got Iowa State over Arizona State. So I agree with you on Arizona State making it, but I'm obviously a little bit higher on a team like the Cyclones. Even though I'll be honest, I saw some of that Ireland game today. I wasn't the most impressed with them completely, but I don't know. I have a gut feeling they could just get better throughout the season. I think Rocco Beck's the guy at quarterback, and he could be a really good leader. So I'm gonna stick to it.
For sure. So we got the SEC up next.
Yeah, let's I'm gonna let you start this one off, man, because and by the way, I know who I'm gonna have in this game, but who I have winning the SEC overall, I will say you can't call me a homer, but go ahead.
So this is gonna shock your pants off. All right.
Uh-oh.
So people, if y'all are in a seat, if you're standing up, make sure you grab a seat because I don't want you to fall down when I tell you this. But I am gonna contradict what I said earlier about keep on saying the same team over and over again. It's just because I think it's the year. I really do. Right. I say Texas is going to win the SEC championship this year.
Okay.
Over. And I hate to say this, man,
Oh
but
no.
my heart is telling me this. I don't want to say it. Please don't make me say it, Ballard. LSU.
LSU.
I think LSU. Yeah. I mean, I know
Okay.
I keep on picking LSU to win national championships and win SEC championships for the past couple years, but I feel like they got from top to bottom, they got a veteran roster, man. They do. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier might be the best quarterback in the SEC. Uh, I mean, their defense is going to be better. They've gotten better every year under Brian Kelly, in my opinion. And, they've made some defensive changes, defensive coaches changes, and it has definitely shown that it's gotten better. I think it's going to be even better this year. I think, man, I mean, LSU has to make it back. I hate to keep on saying LSU every year, but it's one of those type of teams, man, that you just put a lot of stock in. I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC. I'm saying Texas is going to win the SEC, but give me Texas versus LSU. I think both of them make the playoffs, to be honest with you. LSU
Okay.
and Texas are making the playoffs. I just think that LSU is going to come up short in the SEC championship. So I'm not 100% contradicting myself because I am having LSU lose this game, but
Yeah.
I do think they're good enough to make it. So I am going to boldly put them in there.
I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna go with a former SEC West team. Uh and I say it like that because there's no more divisions. I'm gonna put Alabama against Texas, but I'm gonna take Texas to win. That's what I'm gonna roll with. I I don't know how I see it playing out. I just feel like somehow we're gonna get that. Like everyone's gonna lose to somebody in the SEC. We're gonna have some tiebreakers. Texas and Alabama are gonna make it. I'm confident that Alabama's really gonna take some steps forward this year on defense. For Texas, I'm a big believer in them as one of my preseason picks to possibly win the national title. I mean, I could see that. But I don't know, man, like Alabama goes to Georgia, they have to also go to Auburn. I don't think they lose 2 games. I don't think they lose 3 or 4 again like they did last year either, but I think we'll be good. I just don't think we're winning the SEC because I think there's a roadblock with Texas.
Yeah, I think there's 4 teams that are going to make the playoffs for the SEC. I think it's going to be Obviously, the SEC champion. I think both of us are in agreement. Texas.
Yeah.
I think LSU, Georgia, Alabama. That's 4
Mhm.
teams. Over on the Big 12, I think you got to put. So all right, so you got your 5 conference champions. So you got 5 conference champions, and then you got 3 others from the SEC, and I think there's going to be 3 others from the Big 10, and then I think there's probably like another ACC or Big 12 team that gets in. But I think you're going to have 4 SEC, Georgia, LSU, Texas, Bama. Over on the Big 10 side, Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, and I'll just throw this one out there, Illinois.
Mhm.
Over on the Big 12, so that's 8 teams each. So 9, 10, 11. You got 4 more teams. You got a group of 5 team. I don't really know too much about. I guess I'll say UTSA Roadrunners
Yeah.
for the group of 5, and then at least 3 more teams. You got a Big 12 automatic qualifier, which I had already said Arizona State. You got the ACC, which I had already said Clemson, and then I'm gonna throw in another team from the Big 12, and I'll say it's the runner-up. I guess maybe a West Virginia makes it, or maybe a Syracuse even makes it. One of the runner-ups for the ACC or Big 12 title game can make it in there. So that's kind of like how my playoffs are going. That's how my playoffs are going to stack up this year. You got the 5 automatic qualifiers, SEC champion, which I have as
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Big 10 champion, which I have as Oregon. And then you have ACC champion, which I have Clemson. And then you have the Big 12, which I have Arizona State. I have UTSA as the group of 5. And then I had already named the other ones, Penn State, Ohio State, and Illinois. And then I have LSU, Georgia, Bama, and then give me Syracuse, I guess. But
Yeah.
that's
And
kind of how
again,
my
none of these teams are virtual locks for the.
no, I mean
I mean,
they're my
yeah.
predictions, but
Right.
yeah, it's not like a lock. But I'm just saying that these are just my predictions. But since we're doing predictions, but that's how I see the top 12 shaking out. I do think Big 10 and SEC are going to get 4 in each. I could see a world where the Big 10 only get 3 and SEC get 4, just like what happened this past season. But except for backwards, I think SEC could probably get more in than the Big
Yeah.
10. I could see a world where that happens. But I'm also high on Illinois, so don't count out the Illinois there. So and
How about? Oh, did you have one more?
I was we might as well throw in our group of 5. Hey, I was right last year in saying Boise State. I'm gonna pick UTSA. Why not? Let's roll with it. UTSA, baby, Roadrunners.
All right. Let's definitely talk about.
So who's
Um,
your group of 5?
I still want to stick to UNLV.
Okay.
I think they could be the team this year. They had a pretty interesting game against Idaho State today, and I wasn't too impressed, but I still think that this will be a team that gets it together and makes a good run. So that'll be my group of 5. Um, Let's talk. Let's talk about Notre Dame too, man. What's their fate and record? I think I got to double check their schedule. They're coming off a really good season, man. They are. Let's call it what it is. They do open up with the game at Miami. They let me pull up their schedule. They play Texas A&M. They do play teams like Syracuse. As much as I'm high on Syracuse, I think Syracuse will lose some games like the Notre Dame game. They got to also host USC. They really get their toughest games at home. Purdue, which isn't going to be tough. I just kind of threw that out there. But Boise State, NC State, USC, who's a rivalry. What do you think about Notre Dame, man? Because I could see them 11-1 or 10-2 and getting in the playoffs somewhere. And it's straight seeding now, by the way. Just rank them and put them in. I could see them as a 5 to 7 seed at 11-1. I think that it's not something you put your life savings on, but it's something that could happen, right?
Oh yeah, it's totally something that can happen. I don't have them in my top 12.
Hmm.
As I do have them taking a slight step backwards. Um, I mean, who knows? They could be better than they were this past year, but they do lose a lot of talent. Uh, Pretty sure they lose their running back that they had last year, and he was a main contributor. They lose their quarterback, which he wasn't that great, anyways. So it's not like they're losing some elite quarterback play. He wasn't really that great, anyways. So I'm sure they can replace him pretty easily. They lose some key defensive guys, but Notre Dame always has a pretty good defense. So it's very possible that they make it right back in to the top 12 at the end of the season. Right now, I probably have them right outside the top 12 in my predictions, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. I could definitely see Notre Dame losing 2 games that keep them out of the college football playoff conversation. Because I do think that Notre Dame needs to at least go 11-1 or undefeated to make the conference championships. I mean, to make the playoffs. My bad, sorry. Because I don't think that it's just clear cut and dry. You go 10-2 and you're in for Notre Dame. I think it's 11-1 or undefeated, or you don't get in.
Yeah.
Unless you have a world where where you have a bunch of 3-loss teams, or you have some 2-loss teams that lost to 2 really bad teams, and Notre Dame only lost to 2 really good teams. So I mean, a lot has to factor into it, but I think I could see a world where Notre Dame goes 10-2. They might lose because this is true. Notre Dame always loses to one of those head scratchers where you're like, how in the world did they lose, like Northern Illinois or Marshall, right? And you're wondering how in the world did they lose to them, and then they might lose to maybe a Syracuse, and them are the 2 losses that we're talking about. And well, you can forgive the Syracuse loss, but are you going to be able to forgive a Marshall type loss or a Northern Illinois type loss? Will you still put them in the top 12? You know what I mean? There's a lot of factors that go into it whenever we're talking about Notre Dame. I'm not going to put them in the top 12 just because, I don't know how the rest of the season is going to play out for these other conferences and other teams. And, I just hope that the committee does the right thing. And, if there's a 10-2 conference team that, has some really good wins and really good, I know there's no such thing as a really good loss, but, a loss to a really good team, hopefully they would put them over a Notre Dame that don't even play for a conference if Notre Dame were to go 10-2 is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like if there was a Power 4 team that lost 2 games, and them 2 games came from the 2 teams that went to their conference championship. And then Notre Dame loses 2 games, but the 2 games they lost to was like a Northern Illinois and a Syracuse. I would hope that the committee does the right thing and puts the Power 4 team that lost the 2 games that eventually went to the conference championship. I know that's a little bit confusing, and it's a lot to say in one sentence, but I mean, if you know, you know. But I just hope the committee does the right thing with Notre Dame this year. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. And then let's talk, and you don't have to do every Power 4 conference here, but did you come up or can you come up with bold takes for the Power 4 this year? And it doesn't have to be in regards to conference standings or championships or anything, but um, I'm trying to think. I didn't really write anything down, but off the top of your head, I'll hand it to you first. Like, what's something that stands out that you say, I would bet my money on that this would happen, and it's not a popular opinion?
Let me sit here and think for a second.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that. I do want to
Yeah,
talk about.
let's
I want to
yeah.
talk about some Heisman stuff, and then
Okay.
we'll kind of save that one for later, so we could think of stuff
Let's
while we're
do
talking about some Heisman stuff.
yeah, I say we come back to it and we'll pick our Heisman and champion this year first. Let's go ahead and do the Heisman. Mayhem, your 2025 Heisman winner is who?
Um, Garrett Nussmeier.
I knew it. I think we've talked about it before on the show, but just for those that don't know, just kind of talk about him and why you pick him.
So I've been riding on the Gus bus ever since he pretty much got to LSU. I really did. I'm not going to lie to you. Whenever Jaden Daniels was the quarterback for LSU, I was screaming and saying that I thought that Garrett Nussmeier was the better quarterback. And I know you're going to say, wait a minute, hold up, ma'am. But Jaden Daniels, he's doing good in the NFL. Hold on, mayhem. But he won a Heisman. But, right? Hold your horses. Hold your typing fingers, okay? Listen to me. Jaden Daniels is a better athlete. He can run around, make people miss, get a first down. He's a really good passer of the ball as well. I believe that Garrett Nussmeier, as far as quarterbacking goes, I think he has a higher ceiling, and I think he's a better thrower of the football, and I think he's just overall a better quarterback. I think he'll be more successful in the NFL than Jaden Daniels. And I know that's a bold take, but this is Touchdowns Live. If you don't like bold takes, I don't know why you're watching. But I do believe Garrett Nussmeier wins the Heisman because of all said reasons that I just named. I think he's probably the best quarterback in all of the country. There's only a couple of quarterbacks that you can tell me that I would love to hear your argument with. And them names are like, K. Klubnik, Sam Levitt, them type of quarterbacks. I can understand why you would say, okay, they might be better, but if you're not naming one of those, then don't even come at me, and pause. But anyways, so like also, I'm thinking about Ohio State, right? And there is a wide receiver over there, right?
Yeah.
And I know you know who I'm gonna say. Jeremiah Smith, right? I think about Jeremiah Smith, and I'm thinking, can he win the Heisman Trophy? He's like number 2 on my list. He is definitely getting invited to New York.
Oh
I
yeah.
think is Cade Klubnik, Jeremiah Smith. Um, you know, I think the 4, right, is Garrett Nussmeier. I think it's Jeremiah Smith, Cade Klubnik, and Sam Levitt. Them are your 4. I don't care who you pick, but them are your 4. Them are your 4 that's going to New York. I'm giving it to Garrett Nussmeier because I do believe that, like, I would love to pick Jeremiah Smith for next year's Heisman, and that's why I'm picking Garrett Nussmeier this year, because if you ask me next year who's the Heisman, and I know that's long far away, we haven't even started this season, but like way too early for next year, I would put all my stock in Jeremiah Smith. I don't think Jeremiah Smith would win the Heisman back to back. So I'm kind of picking Garrett Nussmeier because I think they're going with a quarterback this year. And I think he is the best quarterback in the country. And I think he's going to get himself to conference championship. And I just believe in Garrett Nussmeier.
I also like Garrett Nussmeier, but that's not my pick. I think you'll have him. I think you'll have Jeremiah Smith as a finalist.
Cade Klubnik.
You will have Cade Klubnik, and that's where I stop because I'm really set on him being possibly the best quarterback in the country in terms of numbers. And I say in terms of numbers because how many top defenses is he going to have to face? I just think he has the easiest path to get to it, honestly. And I'm not trying to say that that's going to be the only reason he gets it. I mean, he's going to earn it because he's a 5-star and really talented quarterback for Clemson. But I think what helps is that he's going to have a good path to get these guys to the ACC title and win it. And a week later, when we're sitting here watching the Heisman ceremony after the Army Navy game, I would not be shocked if they call his name up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either.
There you go. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked either. I told you my 4 finals: Sam Levitt, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Jeremiah Smith. Them are the 4 best players in the country.
Yeah.
You can't name anybody better. Them are the 4 best athletes in the country, and they're going to be there in New York. And if you're saying Cade Klubnik, that's fine. I'm not mad at that pick. I mean, I can totally see it. I'm picking Garrett Nussmeier because for some reason, I'm just this LSU stockholder. I don't know why, but just putting a lot of stock into it. And I believe that Garrett Nussmeier was better than Jaden Daniels whenever he won the Heisman. So why can't Garrett win it? So that's just logical thinking there. Maybe they go with a bigger name in Jeremiah Smith just because he has a bigger name, and he's with Ohio State as well. LSU is a big LSU. I mean, LSU is a big name too. Don't get me wrong, but with Jeremiah Smith,
come on, after guys because of their school,
but they do go based off of popularity contest. Though, come on.
Oh yeah,
it is a popularity contest, and Jeremiah Smith is really popular.
It's like a fashion show too. You see how these guys are?
Let's just be real. If Jeremiah Smith won it, number one, he would earn it. because he is the best wide receiver in the country, and it's not even close. But number two, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier could, you know, blow everybody out of the water, and he could be the undeniable Heisman winner, but they give it to Jeremiah Smith because it's Jeremiah Smith, and he would deserve it too. I think he would deserve it too. You know, if somebody told me that they went into the future and they said that Jeremiah Smith won the Heisman, I would say, man, he deserves it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, I would feel like Garrett Nussmeier also deserves it, and hopefully, you know, well, Garrett Nussmeier might go pro after this year, but anyways, that's my Heisman winner, Garrett Nussmeier. You know,
All right.
but yeah, I think as far as you got anything else?
On the Heisman, I'm sticking to Klubnik. That's it.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's the next topic?
All right, we got two more, and then we'll get out of here because it is after midnight. But Mayhem, we talk all these predictions, getting ready for next week, getting ready for the season. Everything we talked about tonight. Who wins the national championship in Miami in 2025, 2026? Who gets it done and why? And don't pick Georgia just because it's Georgia and your team. Like, I want you to be real, sit down and think about this for a second. I want you to go first. And I think my pick may or may not surprise you.
So let me be clear on something.
Okay.
I never picked Georgia to win the national championship.
Okay.
The only year that I actually really believed that we could win another national championship is when we won back to back. When we won the first one, I didn't even think we were going to win that one. The year after, I literally said that it is very possible that we could have Ohio State versus Georgia national championship. We didn't get the national championship. We got the semifinals, and we went and won versus TCU in the second one. So if you want to say I predicted that one, you can. But other than that year, I have not predicted Georgia to win the national championship ever. So, but as far as my prediction, realistic prediction, I have Oregon, Texas in the national championship.
Okay.
I think Texas wins. I
So you
think
got
Texas.
Texas.
I think Texas wins the national championship. Texas reminds me, and this is going to sound stupid, but it just feels like last year's Ohio State team. It feels that way, right? I think they can get over the hump this year. Now, in past years, I wasn't a believer of Steve Sarkisian. I was not a big fan of his. I didn't think he could ever get over the hump, and he used to lose to teams like Kansas, and he had no business losing to them teams. And then he would lose to his rival Oklahoma, right? And that reminded me a whole lot of Ohio State losing to Michigan, and it reminded me of can Sarkisian get it done? He made it to the SEC championship in his first year. He proved that he can hang in the SEC. And he's got me actually believing in him this year. So I'm going to pick him to win the national championship against Oregon.
Okay.
Dan Lanning, truly amazing, man. Truly amazing. He's definitely going to win the national championship. one year before he retires or before it's all said and done. Oregon will have themselves a national championship. It's kind of crazy. It's a crazy stat to actually believe that the Oregon Ducks, has never won a national championship ever in college football. It's like insane to think about, because the years of Chip Kelly, the years with Mario Cristobal, and now the years with Dan Lanning. Like, and you tell me that they haven't won one national championship?
Yeah.
And I think Dan can do it. I think Dan is the man.
Okay.
I don't see him doing it this year because I'm picking Texas, but he's gonna have his national championship. I think give that quarterback one more year to have a chip on his shoulder, and don't be surprised if Oregon wins the 2026 national championship. I'm going a little bit too far with the crazy predictions here, but Texas versus Oregon, I have Texas coming out with the win.
Okay.
It's going to be a big moment for the Manning family. It's going to be a big moment for Texas and the team. Big moment for Sarkisian. And, I think he finally wins one. So I'm going to go ahead and pick him.
I'm also going to say Texas makes the game. But I'm a big believer this year in James Franklin and what he could do at Penn State. I think they have the defense, and I think Drew Aller has his weapons around him to put a good offense on the field too. I'm gonna go bold here and say Penn State wins the Natty over Texas. Those are my two favorites this year. I know that was kind of what you had in the rankings preseason. I was a little shocked that they did that, but that's who I would go with this year for the national championship matchup. And I think Penn State ends up winning a close one, getting a defensive stop late.
Yeah. And then hopefully, at the end of the season, we can come back to this video and see how close we were to our predictions, and we could do a live stream.
And we could live stream the Natty when it's like Alabama Georgia rematch, and we're nowhere near it.
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope Georgia can make it to the national championship. I'll
I
just
would
talk
want
about.
nothing more. I
So,
would want nothing more than to see Alabama win it, man. For real. Like that's how I feel. That's being a fan.
so I'll say this. I'm gonna ask you a question,
All right.
and I don't want you to take this question the wrong way, but as an Alabama fan, you're an Alabama fan. So, as an Alabama fan, growing up, all you've seen was pretty much national championships. I mean, let's just be honest. You grew up in the same era that I did, and that was the Nick Saban era of college football. And you've got to see pretty much every single one of Nick Saban's championships at Alabama. At least I did, right? Because I started watching college football in 2007. So I've got to witness every single one of Nick Saban's national championships at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you did too, of course, because we're around the same age. But so, I want to ask you this, Ballard, with all that success that you've seen. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that Alabama is not successful, because, it really depends on what your definition of success is. Is it 9 wins? Is it 10 wins? Is it, is it going to a national championship? Is it going to the playoffs? Is it making an SEC championship? Is it winning an SEC? I don't know what you would say is success. I think Georgia last year had a successful season because we made the SEC championship. We won the SEC championship, and we made it to the playoffs. Even though we lost, we still made it. So, I call that successful. I think it's successful that Alabama had a really good season under Kalen DeBoer in his first year, and I think he's going to get better within time. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff or anything like that. I think he's going to stay within the 9 to 11 wins every single year. But he will definitely make playoffs, and he would definitely make SEC championships. So I'm not clowning on Alabama. I don't want you to think that, right? I just want you to answer this question, with the national championship success that Saban has had, and now seeing Alabama in more of a vulnerable state of college football. And whenever I say vulnerable, I mean like nobody is, let's just be honest, nobody's scared of Alabama like they were under Saban. Whenever Alabama, that the letter A was on their helmet, teams were nervous to play them. I remember Urban Meyer on a podcast saying one time, whenever Notre Dame in 2012 came out to face the Alabama Crimson Tide that year, he heard rumblings over on the Notre Dame side that they were genuinely scared to play the big bad Alabama.
Right.
And you can go search it up on YouTube. He tells the story better than I do, but nobody's scared of that anymore. And it's not because Alabama's not good. It's just that
it's because Saban left.
Yeah, and they just don't
Like
fear.
there's no standard in football now.
So
I mean, yeah, well, there's
my
Alabama,
question
but
is,
no one's scared of anybody.
let me get to my question. I know I'm taking a long time to ask it, but I'm just trying to set the stage here.
Yeah.
My question is, like, what's as an Alabama fan, how do you determine success for Alabama now at this stage? I feel like, whenever you was a teenager or whenever you was even a young adult, during the Saban era, it was national championship or bust. National championship or it's not a good season. Has it changed now? And if it has, what is kind of Ballard's rate of success or definition of success for Alabama year in and year out? And I know you're going to say that you want a national championship every year, but obviously that's not possible. I'm just saying, like, what would be a really good year for you year in and year out? What would be the expectation for Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah, well, I mean, the standard has changed. We don't have a set team in college football because Saban retired, and it's one of those things for Alabama now that the times have changed, and you won a national championship. Yeah, the standard is just winning, though, just getting the accolades, but for Kalen DeBoer right now, like, if he doesn't win a natty this year, it's not like they're going to call for him to be fired or anything. I think it's just competing for a championship and just finding a way to get into the college football playoff. If anything, I think you just stick to 10 wins for right now and just kind of do your best with what you have.
Yeah, for sure. As an Alabama fan, I'm sure you expect at least playoff berths every other year, or at least almost every year, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like what Georgia expects.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But give us, like, I know you have Alabama in the national championship, so tell me what went into making that prediction.
I have who in the national championship this year?
You said you said Penn State, Texas. Oh, SEC championship.
Yeah.
Sorry. You have Alabama.
No. Alabama, Texas for the SEC.
Yeah.
I think Texas I think
Just
Texas gets us, and I think both teams sneak their way into the playoffs. But
so
I feel like Alabama comes
what
in
went
back.
into your decision picking Alabama into the SEC championship? My bad.
Yeah, I just think the schedule sets up. I think that, Ty Simpson's leadership is going to show out for the offense this year, and I just think the defense will take major steps forward to compete on a high level, play for 4 quarters. I just think that in year 2 of Kalen DeBoer with all the talent, I think he'll have it all figured out um, to fix what was broken last year.
So as far as Jalen Milroe, he's gone. He's with the Seattle Seahawks. Now Ty Simpson is the new guy. Stepping up to the plate. What are you more excited to see from him than you were in previous years with Jalen Milroe?
Just how calm he can be under pressure. That's what I want to see from Ty Simpson. I felt like under pressure, Jalen Merrill was not that, and I feel like as if um I don't know, man. I feel like he's going to be calm and in command.
For sure. I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell you how I feel about my Georgia Bulldogs. We got a great set of wide receivers. My favorite wide receiver that I'm looking forward to is Zachariah Branch from Southern Cal. See how he plays this season. I'm really looking forward to the run game. See how Nate Frazier can run, and this offensive line I think is going hopefully to be just as good as it was last year. We lose a lot on the offensive line, so I am a little bit nervous with the offensive line, but I'm sure we'll be able to be just as good. But um, wide receivers, I think, is going to be one of the best wide receiver groups that we've had in a long time. Hopefully, everybody can stay healthy and everybody can, not speed and, get a DUI or whatever and get kicked off the team. Hopefully, none of that happens. But as far as Georgia goes, Gunnar Stockton, that has been my guy ever since he was in high school. I have been a believer of Gunnar Stockton ever since he was in high school. He reminds me of that TCU guy from a few years ago whenever he went to the national championship. Can't think of his name right off the top of my head. The TCU quarterback. Huh?
Max Duggan.
Yeah, Max. Reminds me a whole lot of Max Duggan. And he's tough, man. This is a tough quarterback. I think this is one of the toughest quarterbacks Georgia's had since Matthew Stafford. And yes, that's a bold take. But man, this guy's good. I think I think he's going to improve drastically, obviously, because he wasn't the starting quarterback this past year. He got dumped into the second half of the Texas SEC title game. By the way, we were losing at halftime. He came back and won for us, right? So, so that is, something that I can look forward to is that, he doesn't fall under pressure. He remains calm and he's confident. Although we lost the Notre Dame game, if you sit there and tell me it's because of that quarterback, I'm going to argue with you until I pass away, because it was not his fault of why we lost. And I will sit here and tell you why we lost that Notre Dame game. And it's very simple. It's very simple. I'm drawing a blank, but the offensive line, that guy on the end, did not block worth a crap. I believe it was the left side of the offensive line completely did not block. gave up a ton of sacks and made quarterback couldn't do anything. That's number one. Number two, the wide receivers drop balls. You could throw a perfect pass, but if you can't catch a ball, what's the point? Number three, right before halftime, it was only a 3-point game. I believe. It was a 3-point game. We were only losing by 3. We could have went at halftime. Did our thing. But no, Kirby Smart wants to, try to get a touchdown in the last 30 seconds instead of taking a knee. He wants to, from his own 20-yard line, try to get in field goal range, hurry up offense, which I think is stupid. And what does he do? He puts the quarterback in unfortunate position. Offensive line doesn't block, gets a fumble. Notre Dame gets the ball. Free touchdown for Notre Dame. They go up by 10. Georgia's all rattled, goes in the halftime rattled, comes out after halftime rattled, kicks the ball off. Notre Dame runs it back for a touchdown, going up by 17. Now, I will tell you this, Ballard, had he just kneeled the ball, went into halftime, down by 3, even if they would have ran it back for a touchdown, they wouldn't have been up by 17 points. They'd have been up by 10 points. Notre Dame, the whole entire game, Notre Dame's offense wasn't doing anything until late in the fourth quarter. They weren't doing anything. That was off the back of that defense. Notre Dame's defense won that game for them. It had nothing to do with Gunnar Stockton and his play. So, shout out to Gunnar Stockton. I think he's going to have a great year this year. I'm a believer in him. I have no worries about him. The main thing I'm worried about is that offensive line for the Georgia Bulldogs. And as far as defense goes, I'm not really worried about the defense. I think Georgia can have a very successful year, 10-2 or 9-3. Hopefully we don't go 9-3, but I think 10-2 is pretty good for Georgia this year. That's my record prediction. So 10-2 for the Dogs. I'm really high on the Dogs, just not high enough that they're going to make the national championship or anything like that. And, I think we're not as good as what we were a few years ago, obviously, but we're definitely going to be in contention for the SEC championship. Don't let us fool you, Ballard.
All right. Yep. All right. With that, I didn't write any of this out, but do you have, and it doesn't have to cover like every Power Four conference, but what would be some bold takes before we get out of here tonight for each Power Four conference? Or any of them?
All right. Power Four bold takes. All right. Let's start with the SEC. Let's do a really bold. Actually, let's start with the ACC. Sorry.
Okay.
Really, really bold takes. Right. Stanford is going. All right, here you go. Stanford's going to fall off a cliff. Not Stanford. SMU. They rose to the mountaintop. They went to the ACC championship this past year. They're going to fall off a cliff. They're not going to make a bowl game.
Okay.
ACC.
All right, I got one. SEC. I'm going to say Auburn figures out their quarterback situation. And I'm going to say they win 8 games.
I actually agree with you. I think they'll win 8 or 9 games, yeah. I agree with that.
Say their losses. Uh, yeah, I
Georgia.
think they're going to lose to. I'm going to give them a loss at Baylor, at Oklahoma, Georgia, and at Vandy. And another bonus bold take here. I think we lose the Iron Bowl this year at Jordan Hare. I think they get over that hump and get us.
Okay.
I hate to say it, and I hope I'm wrong, but with Kalen DeBoer, man, he's still getting a taste of that rivalry a little bit, and he's going to have to figure a lot of stuff out this season. To I don't know if we go 10-2, one of our loss. I think we go 10-2 with losses to Georgia and Auburn.
For sure. Trying to think of one for the Big 12.
Oh man, can we talk about Colorado? Can I go Colorado here?
Yeah, go ahead.
They win 5 games and miss a bowl.
Okay.
That is pretty bold too, I think.
All right, another bold take. You said they're going to be 10-2 Colorado?
No, 5-7 and miss the bowl.
Oh, 5-7 and miss a bowl. Okay. I
Yeah.
completely heard that wrong.
I had Alabama 10-2.
Here's my bold take. For the Big 12,
Mm-hmm.
I think Kansas upsets a few teams and it throws a loop in the Big 12. It makes it even more wide open than it is.
And it's because of Kansas?
Yes.
I feel like I could see that though. I mean, West Virginia's at home, Cincinnati's at home, Utah, Kansas State. Well, probably not Kansas State, but I mean, what are the chances with these unranked Big 12 teams that Kansas is actually going to be favored in each one of them, especially like even if they're at home? Like what are the chances? They're going to pull some upsets, you know.
Yeah, I think my biggest bold take is the reason why the Big 12 is going to be so wide open this year is because Kansas is going to throw a wrench in some of these teams' plans. They're going. It is going to be the upset city. I think Kansas is going to be the upset city team in the Big 12.
Okay.
For the Big 10,
Yeah.
same exact take that you have with Auburn. Just copy and paste that for Nebraska.
They make a bowl.
More than a bowl, 8-9 wins.
8-9 wins. Oh.
Nebraska.
Okay.
And also, I think Indiana falls off a cliff. They might not even make. I think they're the TCU from a couple of years ago. Remember when TCU won national championship and then the year after they didn't even make a bowl?
Mm-hmm.
That's Indiana.
I'm trying to think.
Bold take.
I need a good Big Ten one here. Oh, okay. And this isn't news to anybody if you watch Uncle Lou, but but I also believe this could happen. Okay. Iowa needs to go over 7.5 wins for me to win a bet with Uncle Lou, which means they need to go 8-4 or better. I'm gonna peg them at. I'm gonna put them at 8-4. I was gonna win 8 games,
All right,
and I just barely win the bet.
Here's the biggest bold take. Now, either I'm going to be a genius or I'm going to be the biggest dummy of all of college football. You ready?
Yeah.
Tennessee misses a bowl game.
Oh, what a joy that would be.
I think they lose to Syracuse, lose to Georgia, lose to Arkansas, lose to Bama, lose to Kentucky, lose to
Lose to
Oklahoma,
Vandy.
lose to Florida. No, I said lose to
And they
Florida.
still hold on. They're gonna miss a bowl game, and they're still gonna beat Vanderbilt.
Yes, listen to what
What's
I'm
their
saying.
hold on. Look at their schedule.
Let's go game by game.
Yeah, let's pull it up.
They're going to lose to Syracuse, first of all.
Okay, I could see that.
They're going to lose to Georgia.
Yeah.
They're going to lose to Arkansas. They're going to lose to Bama. They're going to lose to Kentucky. They're going to lose to Oklahoma. They're going to lose to Florida. 5-7.
That's 7. Yeah.
And if they don't, if they don't lose to Syracuse, they'll lose to Vanderbilt. They'll still go 5-7.
I'd be damned. They can go 5-7.
Bold take.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. Okay, I like it. That's really bold. Trying to think what else I can come up with. This is fun. Let's see. Who could I mess with right now?
Hey, you said you wanted big and bold takes. That's the biggest one I got.
Yeah. Feel like I could go bigger here. Florida Gators.
Winston.
They have some road games. They have a stretch with LSU, Miami, and Texas. Maybe a bye in between. I'm not sure. Believe it or not, they don't have dates set for all of their games. Or maybe they do. Hold on. Yeah, they do. What the hell? They got a bye week between Miami and Texas. But Florida will lose to LSU on September 13th. But the following week, they are going to go to Miami and pull off a big win. That's not too bold, but I know some people that are really high on Miami this year. I'm not buying into it too much.
Yeah, I think Miami can replicate what they did last year.
Other than I could see them getting to the ACC in a way, but I still like I don't think they're like championship contenders.
No, they're not. Well, I think if you ain't got anything else, I think we should get on out of here. I think this was an awesome show.
I thought it was great, man. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning too.
But with that being said, if you like the content, please smash the thumbs up. And if you really like the content, hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget tomorrow, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mayhem Matthew channel. Be there, be square. God bless.
Love y'all. From his family.
Yes, was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
We got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.